Greetings. My name is Brian Moulton, and I will be your professor as we study the doctrines of ecclesiology and eschatology, otherwise known as the doctrine of the church and the doctrine of the end times, or the last things. It's funny how usually in a series of theological studies we kind of put eschatology last, rightly so, because it kind of studies the end times. And both of these I think you'll find are going to be equally as important and valid for your daily life, whether you're serving in a church and seek to understand the doctrines of the church better, or if you're someone who's looking for hope and looking for something to really believe in the future during your present tribulation, your present times of distress. I'm really convinced that we know so much about the end times in the Bible, as we'll see in this course. We know so much and are given so much because God gave it to us for our comfort, for our hope. Because we figure out that if God has so carefully planned out the end of the world and how it's going to end with every detail, well, I got to believe that He's planned out every detail of my life for the rest of my life, and I can trust Him for that. So we'll get very practical in this course as we also dig deeply and get very doctrinal and very theological. There's no doubt there's a lot of different opinions about eschatology and ecclesiology and different things that we'll talk about. But let me introduce myself a little bit. I'm a Minnesota boy, born and raised in Minnesota. Spent first 23, 24 years of my life in Minnesota. And then I became a Christian in my early 20s, and that changed my life completely, away from pre-medical studies and onward and upward into ministry and having a passion for the Word of God and studying it and practicing it and teaching it. And so I left Minnesota and moved down to Dallas. I got married and married a Christian girl, and I was a brand new Christian. Moved to Dallas, Texas, and spent 9 years there studying at Dallas Theological Seminary, where I got my THM, a Master's in Theology, and then the PhD in Biblical Studies. And I had a couple of kids there. Then we moved to Nebraska and spent several enjoyable years in Nebraska, where I pastored a church, a rural church called Country Bible Church, just outside of Lincoln, Nebraska. It was great. I love the people there. When you pastor, pastoring, you've got a lot of things to do. You marry people, you bury people, you do stuff with the youth group. You're into people's lives, the things that are really positive, the things that maybe aren't so positive and are kind of hard. And pastoring is such a high calling. It's a challenge, and it's a great, great calling. For any of you who would aspire to be a pastor, I recommend it. Kids grew a little bit more, and I got my PhD, and the Lord convinced me that we're going to move to California. So in the year 2000, my family of four moved to California, and I've been a Bible teacher, college and grad school ever since. And it's been a great life. It's always a good life when you're walking with the Lord, and I just thank God that most of my life I just feel like I kept growing and growing now through 30 plus years of being a Christian. It's just a wonderful life. And really, it's the Bible. It's our study of the Bible, whether it's books of the Bible or studying doctrines of the Bible. These are the things that sometimes consternate us as we wrestle with meaning and what is this and what's that tribulation and who's the Antichrist and should we have elders, should we have deacons, and all this ecclesiology stuff. But I'm hoping that in the weeks we spend together, we'll sort a lot of that out and at least give you some of the options and things that you might want to study in more detail later on in your life. But you'll have a lot of opportunities to study, and I'll know a lot of you face-to-face, and some of you maybe through the cyber world and the online world. But either way, we'll work together on this. And you'll grow and learn through it, and I'll grow and learn through it, particularly through what you contribute to the class. Because you're going to ask some questions, and you're going to raise some things on discussion boards that's like, hey, I hadn't thought of that one. 35 years into it, I'm still thinking of new things too and learning new things. So I always look forward as a professor to what I'm going to learn from you students and how you're going to challenge me to think more rightly about God, to be more accurate about my understanding of the Word of God, so I can be a better teacher, and you're going to help me with that. So God's blessings to you in your continuing theological studies. The study of the church and the last things is it's an exciting ride, and I hope it'll be that for you as well. So God bless you, and may God honor your learning, and may you honor God through your learning in this course. Selah.